tournaments.
Is this?
And that is...
Could it be?
That is Lurin combo.
Wow, Lurin. It's been a while since I've seen Lurin. I actually played Lurin at a GP and did not last very long. It's a pretty complicated combo deck. Uses the enchantment Lurin to go off. It uses Imperial Recruiter, find the combo pieces, Dreamstalker, bounce them. Finally, a Cavern Harpy, which will then rebuy one of the Dreamstalkers, which can rebuy anything you want. The Imperial Recruiter, you can pay a life, bounce the Cavern Harpy, and go off that way, finishing off with a Parasitic Strix, which drains for 2.
We're going to see how fast he can combo here. He's really up against the test of Burn, which is typically a turn 4 deck on almost any draw.
Yeah.
But Martin is going to be in the play here, so he cracks a Verdant Catacombs to start. Now,
yeah, Lurin can usually go off around turn 4, and so being on the play is pretty important.
So some of the slower combo decks of Legacy?
Yes, absolutely. The Lurin deck also has a couple of speed bumps in the form of, Coiling Oracle. So it is possible that he can actually get some life, get an extra turn, and that extra turn could be the difference.
All right, so Martin fetches main phase turn 1 so that he can both Brainstorm here, and he's playing around a possible Stifle. Turns out his opponent, now he knows exactly what his opponent is on.
Yes.
So
the old Mountain Riftbolt suspend is pretty telling start. Yeah.
At that point, you always have to be happy that it's not Goblin Guide. It usually means that he's not... Goblin Guide pretty much is part of the equation of every turn 3 kill of Burn.
Yes.
So that means Martin knows that he can really, I think at this point, look at his hand and tell himself, all right, I need to win on turn 4.
Yep, turn 4 is the latest I can go.
Yeah. If he's lucky, he gets a turn 5, but you can't assume it will happen.
Right. And so I actually like the aggressive Brainstorm here because he knows that he's going to be on a tight clock. Brainstorm in Lurin is a little different than, in, say, Delver or Shardless Bug, in that you're looking for specific pieces rather than a generalized control plan. And so the aggressive Brainstorm is a lot more common from this deck.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is, you see this oftentimes in decks like Sneak and Show or High Tide also, where really what you care about with Brainstorm is that it digs you 3 cards deep and it allows you to replace redundant combo pieces.
Exactly. So here we're going to see another fetch, and it looked like a Coiling Oracle is going to come down. Coiling Oracle is a cool little card because not only is it a little speed bump, you get potential for an acceleration, it replaces itself, and it can be used in the combo to draw through your deck.
So it's an Elvish Visionary, and it actually is an elf, and a nice Snake Elf Druid.
Oh,
It's sometimes
cynic.
an Elvish Visionary, sometimes basically a Rampant Growth.
Yes.
And so in a Lurin, at least in a turn 2 situation, I would assume that you hope you hit a land off it.
Yes, and especially with Lurin costing 4 mana, it's if you can hit a Coiling Oracle on hit a land off of your Coiling Oracle, then you can actually go for the turn 3 win.
Yeah. So see, that's Coiling Oracle to the left. It's originally from Dissension.
And here we go. Spin the wheel.
Does he get the card or does he get the land? He gets Cavern Harpy. So it's going to be card into his hand.
An important combo piece, but you can usually get it later in the chain with your Imperial Recruiters, so not a huge deal to have that.
So, yeah, Cavern Harpy. We'll get to that later on. It looks like a card you'd never want to cast. How about for now we'll leave it at, it doesn't really show up until combo time.
Right. It ends the game once we get to that stage.
Alright, so Curran, on his plan, the Riftbolt goes at the Dome. That puts Martin down to 15, thanks to the 2 fetch lands he cracked, and we will see what burn spell Curran selects next. Keep in mind that because almost all of Curran's cards do the exact same thing, it really is usually just a turn 4 kill deck.
Yep. We're going to do a
Flame Rift.
burn us.
Yeah.
Flame Rift there. 4 damage to each player. And now Martin is coming down to the wire. It's it's almost go time. Does he have what he needs?
Yeah, so I would say being on the play here is probably pretty important. Lurin is a 4 mana spell, and the fact that on the play he can just go play 4 lands into an Lurin seems really powerful.
Ooh.
But Martin did not hit his land number 3 there. That's going to be huge.
Doubly huge, because not only is he still 2 away from Lurin, but he has an intuition in his hand which would have found the Lurin. So had he had, the 2 lands on time, then this would have been a turn 4 kill.
All right, so third land from Curran, still going with the Goldfish. He's put out Sulfuric Vortex. It's one of the most redundant ways to win, but actually one of the more slow ways to win.
A super powerful sideboard card. Interesting to see in the main deck, in Curran's deck here.
Yeah, it's actually a weak card in this matchup. While Sulfuric Vortex provides a lot of inevitability, it is not a good card at racing.
Yeah. It's not for combo, it's for, you know, the grindy decks. But it does get Force of Will because it does represent a huge amount of damage.
Yeah. And actually, it looks like Curran is flooding a bit. He has 2 Arid Maces and a Chain Lightning. Martin did pitch, he had a second, he pitched an Intuition there.
Probably has a second there.
I believe he has a second one. He got to see Curran's hand, and he knows that he has some time right now.
Yeah.
And Curran draws another land for the turn. So Curran's just thinning out his deck of mountains. Remember, he only plays 20 lands in the deck.
So this is a race between drawing 10 more points of burn, or 7 more points of burn, as he has a Chain Lightning, versus drawing 2 more lands.
Yeah, you probably have to think that Curran needs to draw 2 more cards to deal 7 damage. He's drawn 2 burn spells. This will put Martin down to 7. It's true that both his spells could do 3, though it's also very possible that Martin will have to take a damage in the process of getting to 4 mana, especially if he finds the fetch land. Also, a question for you. Cavern Harpy oftentimes makes you pay life to combo off. If Curran can get Martin to 1, does that impede Martin's ability to combo?
Unlikely, because the Parasitic Strix drains for 2 when he comes into play, so you'll be gaining 2 before you have to pay 1.
Okay, so thanks to if the Sulfuric Vortex was in play, it would be a big problem,
yes,
but it's not.
Absolutely.
So out of curiosity, this may come up next game. If a Vortex is in play, how much life does Allurn actually need to combo?
Well...
Or is there a number, you know? Is there a hard number, or no?
Yeah, you're paying 1 life for every 2 damage past the first 2.
So you just can't let Sulfuric Vortex resolve, basically?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you can pay, you know, 18 or 8 life or whatever it is.
And lands have continued for Curran here. He finally gets a draw. It's going to be Goblin Guide. And there's the Allurn that Martin needs, but still not the land. So Goblin Guide kind of taunting here. Not only does Martin not get to draw a card, but he knows he's not drawing a land this turn.
Well, he does get the Allurn, so if he does draw 1 land the turn after, then he can Intuition for a land instead of the Allurn and no longer needs to draw that. So he is 2 turns away, theoretically, from winning.
Yeah, right now Martin, though, playing on borrowed time. Burn is currently doing a turn 7 or 8 kill.
Another land, got to get that triggered. There we go, a Volrath Stronghold. So his next land is going to have to be green, but if he does indeed have another Intuition, then he can Intuition for 3 green lands, and that will be the game next turn, unless Curran can draw another... Ooh, he's going Coiling Oracle, all right.
Just to draw Coiling Oracle. So this deck's just refusing to cough up lands for him. He did have... So he chose to make Coiling Oracle there instead of making that Intuition. The idea is that he's at 5. There are so many cards in Curran's deck that deal 3 damage. He wanted to have that blocker there for Goblin Guide in case Curran drew one.
And it paid off.
He did. It was a Rift Bolt.
Force of Will, not ideal.
Not going to be a land, and he knows it. So Martin, with so many turns to hit a land, unable to do so. This will put him to 2.
Now he draws the Force of Will, and he's got another Coiling Oracle for another turn of blocking, so it's still coming down to the wire here.
Yeah, he can chump block here.
Oh, and there's the
Finally hits
green
his land.
source.
Okay.
So if Curran doesn't draw a burn spell here, Martin wins on his next turn.
Well, even if he does draw a burn spell, Martin has the
Force of Will. You're right.
He actually
That's game.
can maybe win at 1.
That should be game.
All right, Goblin Guide flips a Force of Will. He's chumped. And Curran's going to go for the kill in Flame Rift, but as he knows Martin drew a Force of Will, does have a blue card.
The Intuition that he chose not to cast turns earlier, he's going to untap, and then here we go.
All right, so he's going to have to do this whole thing at 1 life. As you said, that's not particularly a problem. So Allurn is an enchantment that once you play it, it lets you cast creatures, is it?
Yes, creatures for free.
Yeah.
Here it is. Creatures under 3 for free with flash.
Okay, so, which is a whole lot of his deck. It's an engine that basically combos out thanks to the help of Imperial Recruiter.
Right, so here's the combo. He's going to Imperial Recruiter for, Dreamstalker for redundancy, and another Imperial Recruiter. Doesn't really matter since it's all free. But eventually, he's going to be getting a Parasitic Strix. He's then going to cast the Cavern Harpy with the gating trigger on the stack, with the return of blue or black creature on the stack.
Right.
ability, he's going to respond with the Parasitic Strix. The Parasitic Strix will then come into play. He'll have the black permanent with the Cavern Harpy, which will drain for 2. See, this is the Dreamstalker bouncing the Imperial Recruiter just for more redundancy.
Martin's making a ton of creatures here, so all those Imperial Recruiters are cast for free and found each other. Then they found Dreamstalkers, which bounced the Imperial Recruiter and found the other Dreamstalker. And now here comes the actual win con. He's going to play Parasitic. He found Parasitic Strix.
Right, so here's the Cavern Harpy, bounce the Dreamstalker, Parasitic Strix. The Cavern Harpy is the black creature, so drain for 2.
Yeah,
Martin's then going to go up to 3, so he can now activate his Cavern Harpy.
Yeah, Parasitic Strix. The win con is the Parasitic Strix plus Cavern Harpy.
Yep.
Cavern Harpy allows a player, when it enters the battlefield, it bounces a blue creature, in this case Parasitic Strix.
Right.
So that'll deal 2 damage to Curran, and Martin gains 2 life. Then he uses one of those 2 life he gained to bring back a Cavern Harpy to his hand, and then repeats the process over and over.
Until they are dead. Yep. Pretty slick combo. So, pretty cool interactions. Interactions from cards from like across Magic's history, you know?
Yeah. It's really fueled by Allurin. I know, if I'm not Allurin though was a strategy before Parasitic Strix, right? Or is that I think there's another combination of small creatures that
there was
it's
another
not as
kill.
good.
Yeah, there was another kill. It might have actually just been Infinite Life. Maybe? I'm not sure. Not up on my Allurin history, but the new iteration is a much cleaner, much faster kill. And I think it's cool that, Allurin's a super old card, and then Cavern Harpy is like, from the Middle Ages of Magic, and then Parasitic Strix is a relatively recent card, like 4 years old?
From
like that?
Conflux.
Yeah, so pretty neat. Pretty cool to see these cards, cross-generational cards interacting favorably.
All right, so Martin does take the first game, as we said there. Really was playing on borrowed time that game. Curran, I think, got all the way up until turn 7 and was unable to assemble a kill.
They were both getting so unlucky, it was kind of insane.
Yeah.
Like, Martin just needed a land, and Curran just needed a burn spell in his burn deck, and it took a while.
So, when we look at the sideboard, if Curran knows enough about Allurin, he's going to board in the remainder of his remaining Sulfuric Vortex, as that's a card which really seems like Martin can't combo through unless he has a sideboard card that blows up Sulfuric Vortex.
Such as a Harmonic Sliver.
Okay, so that's a card that we get out of Martin's deck to deal with a problematic Sulfuric Vortex.
Yep. There's also a Peacekeeper and some spot removal that's probably not good enough. Yeah, I would say Harmonic Sliver is the big one. The thing about all these targeted, these tutor targets with the Imperial Recruiter is once the Allurin is in play, you can just get it for free. And, once for every Imperial Recruiter or Dreamstalker that you have, and then if you're actually going off, you can actually get the Cavern Harpy, bounce the Dreamstalker, play the Dreamstalker, get the Imperial Recruiter, and find multiple iterations of whatever card it is that you need. So there's, an Eternal Witness to find if you need it, a Venser in case you need to deal with a problem, some permanent. There's Harmonic Sliver in the sideboard. The sideboard has a bunch of bullets. Kataki War's Wage for artifact decks, Yixla Jailer for graveyard decks, Peacekeeper for attacking decks, Harmonic Sliver for artifacts and enchantments, Lawan Cephalid Empress for merfolk, and Aethersworn Canonist for combo.
Yeah, it's so a lot of 1-ofs in Martin's deck to deal with individual things. Curran's deck is pretty much the same way. He has cards like Fairy Macabre in the deck. For show and tell, he has Ashen Rider, now an upgrade to Angel of Despair.
I like it.
And another card which we'll probably see come in is Pyrostatic Pillar.
Yes, Pyrostatic Pillar. Off of Allurin, even though it makes them free and have flash, you are still casting those creatures, so you will have to take 2 damage for every Pyrostatic off of every Pyrostatic Pillar trigger.
So the interesting thing about pillars is that Vortex doesn't matter as much because Martin can go, when he combos off, can go find all his combo pieces and then find the Harmonic Sliver, blow up the Sulfuric Vortex, and keep going. Pillar is a little more relevant of a threat because basically Martin's first tutor will have to be for that Harmonic Sliver, otherwise he'll take far too much damage to
Right.
continue the combo.
And he's still going to take 4 for the Recruiter and the Harmonic Sliver. So that is
Exactly.
not bad at all. 4 damage at minimum. Not to mention if you have multiple in play or, you know, another piece of disruption.
Yeah, so getting some help here on Twitter with some older Allurin players. There have been a couple of things that have seen play. I guess Cavern Harpy has been a mainstay in Allurin, but previously it was used with Cloud of Fairies to produce infinite mana.
Yeah.
We also saw, I believe, there was a couple symmetric effects that were used.
I know that like before Dreamstalker, it used Mana War.
Yeah, Mana War. Yeah, Mana War along. Yeah,
know
Mana
that
War,
much.
Harpy, and Cloud of Fairies. Maggot Carrier can be used to kill both players.
Okay.
So there are enough small creatures across the history of Magic to put together a lot of lethal Allurin decks.
Right.
This one is the lowest investment one, though. You really just have to play a couple, 1 or 2 parasitic Strix.
Yeah, it's 1 Strix and 1 Witness
One
in
Strix,
case it dies.
Yeah, a Strix, a Witness, and the Cavern Harpies, and that's it.
Yep. And Dreamstalker is kind of cool because with Mana War targeted, so you would have to play your Mana War and then you target the Imperial Recruiter and they could actually kill the Imperial Recruiter that you target in response, and then you're stuck. But with Dreamstalker, it doesn't target, so your Imperial Recruiters all find each other. So you have a bunch of Imperial Recruiters, you play the Dreamstalker, and then if they kill one of your Imperial Recruiters, you just bounce another one.
Right, the trigger says when Dreamstalker enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand, so you don't have to decide which creature it is until the Dreamstalker is done resolving.
Exactly.
Martin, a veteran from Learn, you saw that's why when he started the chain, went and got a bunch of Imperial Recruiters before doing anything else.
Yep. Obviously, it didn't matter, as if Curran had anything, it would have gone to his dome. But it is good to practice like you play. You know, it does come up and it is relevant, so it's good to be mechanically sound in that regard.
So because Martin has no life gain in his sideboard, he's going to be on the draw game too. To me, that seems to think that he's a little bit of an underdog right now, because he's not a fast combo deck.
Yep, it is certainly possible. I mean, Pyrostatic Pillar, as you said, is likely very high impact here, and Martin with only a couple of answers.
So because the Goldfish turn of burn is somewhere between 4 and 5, Martin's around a half turn faster of a kill deck. That's one of the ways that players can look at combo decks as their Goldfish. You know, in a really non-interactive matchup, you just care what your Goldfish turn is.
We call it the fundamental turn from Zvi's article of the same name. Clear the land in the fundamental turn. One of the most important pieces of Magic literature ever. I think it's on Star City. You should definitely check it out if you haven't. And yeah, I would agree with you. I think Curran's fundamental turn is a little faster, if not about the same. But being on the play, it's going to be, you know, he gets to kill Martin before Martin kills him.
All right, so we're set here. You saw there, Curran, the burn deck is a lot of times at the mercy. I mean, it's really at the mercy of its top decks. We saw he flooded out there game 1.
Yep.
Had a pretty good keep. You know, there's a lot of just top decking involved in it.
Yep. You could be like Adam Prozac and Splash Brainstorms, but without that,
that is a take on burn indeed.
Yep. So here we go. Moving on.
Right, so actually both players here are on a mulligan to 6. That's a fact that probably favors Martin, as going to 6 doesn't really affect his his win turn.
He only needs a couple specific cards, not necessarily a critical mass of cards like Curran.
Yeah. Curran's like every card is worth a certain number of burn spells.
Yep. Which is Philosophy of Fire by Mike Flores, which you can also find on StarCityGames.com. We're doing some Magic history lessons here. I like it.
What we do have from Curran here, though, is a card that poses a lot of trouble for Martin. He does have one of those Pyrostatic Pillars in his opener. He's going to slam that down.
We got a reader.
That is likely to do a lot of damage this game. It will affect pretty much every card in Martin's deck.
Oh, never mind. It's going to get Force of Willed, and rightfully so.
To.
Yes. A landed Pyrostatic Pillar was going to spell doom for Martin, and he correctly identified that and was able to answer it with a Force of Will. Pitching a Coiling Oracle, he's going to fetch a couple times. Fetch lands sting a little against the burn deck.
Yeah, the fetch lands do add up in the matchup. So the fact that Martin pitched a Coiling Oracle would suggest that he has perhaps another Coiling Oracle.
Yep. Very possible. He's getting basics to play around Price of Progress. Thank you. Good old pop.
Price of Progress, yeah, is a 4-of in Curran's deck.
And, you know, the Aluren deck is technically a 3.5 color deck, so that is a thing.
So we will see the Coiling Oracle here.
Spin the wheel.
Is he going to get the ramp this time? He's going to get an Intuition, which he
not
does.
too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, he does have, it looks like, most of the combo in his hand, so Intuition will be able to find that missing piece. He's at a healthy 14 right now.
Grim Lavamancer showing up a little late. Flame Rift us.
Alright, so that'll put Martin down to 10. Remember, he has about 2 more turns to Rift, but Curran down to 1 card, and as we know it's a mountain, that Pyrostatic Pillar getting countered is pretty important here.
Yeah, huge. And Martin thinking about Intuitioning here while Red Elemental Blast isn't a possibility, but he does decide to pass the turn.
And the second Grim Lavamancer, never as good as the first one, but it is the draw for Curran here. He may actually offer a trade of Lavamancer for Coiling
just to fill up
Oracle.
the yard. Yeah, it is possible. Looks like he's going to make sure that this one resolves first, but he is going to pass the turn here. An Intuition cast on the end step, and it is going to resolve. So it's going to get 3 Recruiters here, as he already has the Aluren and the green land.
Yeah, so that should be good enough to win on the untap here.
Yep. He's going to get 1 Imperial Recruiter and find another. So it actually, with 1 card in hand and a Grim Lavamancer in play, it is theoretically possible that Curran could break this up. But if Martin goes for it, it will work because he does not have...
So if Curran had a kill spell, he could Grim Lavamancer one of the Recruiters and then kill spell the other one.
Yeah.
And then Martin's
The Dreamstalker
engine
wouldn't
on.
be able to return anything, yeah.
So if that's the case, how does Martin play around that?
You just have to draw another Dreamstalker, Imperial Recruiter, or... I guess that's it. Eternal Witness probably does it. Yeah, you have a few outs. Venser does not do it.
So instead of maybe chaining in one turn, you just have to put it together over multiple turns?
Yeah, if you can play it safe by doing that, or you can actually go off on end step, so the Lavamancer is locked in.
Right.
But with 2 Lavamancers, that's less appealing. I think as Martin, you just go for it.
We will see what happens here. He fetches for the 4th land, and it looks like he's going to make that Aluren.
All right, Aluren is in there. Now let's see if he goes for it.
It looks like the only card in his hand, he has a
All right.
Imperial Recruiter.
So this is going to get the last copy of Imperial Recruiter, which is then going to get a Dreamstalker.
Right. So at this point, when he gets the Dreamstalker, when this triggers on the stack, he's casting it. He's going to see if he's going to kill everything.
Yep.
And he does not, and that is a green light for Martin to go ahead.
Yep. If Curran had a burn spell there, he could respond to the Dreamstalker with a Grim Lavamancer activation on one, the Lightning Bolt on the other. The Dreamstalker would only be able to bounce a Coiling Oracle at that point, and yeah, he would have fizzled out. But instead, he has a Mountain, and so Martin is free to go off.
Now, what's the value of finding the second Dreamstalker?
Basically, it's the same thing. It's just like more redundancy for more removal. At this point, it doesn't matter. Like the Dreamstalker not being in your deck doesn't matter, so you might as well just have it in play for extra protection. It's just a matter of like doing things, technically correct, even when it doesn't matter, so that you're in the habit of doing it that way for when it might.
Okay.
Looks like a small judge intervention here, but I'm pretty sure Martin is handling everything correctly. He played the Dreamstalker, indicated he was bouncing and recasting the Imperial Recruiter. Imperial Recruiter comes back down, he searches once again. All right, just walking it through for the judges, making sure that they understand what's going on. He is going to bounce the Imperial Recruiter one more time. Recast it again. There you go, being a little more clear, putting it all the way to the hand, and then all the way back onto the battlefield.
All right, and then here will come the combo again. First will be Cavern Harpy. He's going to pay the life, play Cavern Harpy, bouncing
Dreamstalker, bouncing the Imperial Recruiter, getting the Parasitic Strix.
Remember that Cavern Harpy can only bounce blue creatures when it enters the battlefield. That's why Dreamstalker's in the deck. He wants to use the Cavern Harpy as an engine to find more things. So the chain is Cavern Harpy bounces Dreamstalker. Dreamstalker is recast, bounces Imperial Recruiter. Imperial Recruiter goes and finds a combo piece. Then if he wants to reset it, he pays a life to the Cavern Harpy and can do the whole chain again.
Yep. And the Parasitic Strix, also blue. Once you have those, then the Cavern Harpy, you can actually respond to the trigger, the gating trigger of the Cavern Harpy with the Parasitic Strix, and then return the Parasitic Strix, recast it, so you can actually like gain the life without having to lose the life first. You know, you gain two before you lose before you pay the first one.
If you're at 1, you can still
go off. Yep. Curran just making sure that he knows everything that's going on here. Yep.
Alright, so now he's going to demonstrate the loop here. He has Parasitic Strix in his hand, and he's going to show how by paying 1 life to Cavern Harpy, he basically can continue to recast the Parasitic Strix.
Putting the Harpy gating trigger onto the stack.
Yeah, gating shortcut for the return a blue or black creature to its owner's hand.
Yep, and here comes the Parasitic Strix in response to that trigger. Once again, Curran just making sure that everything is up to snuff here.
Yeah, I think Curran is looking for a window to use Grim Lavamancer. The problem is the only card he could really kill with Grim Lavamancer that matters, well, the 2 cards that matter are the Cavern Harpy and the Parasitic Strix. He obviously can't kill the Harpy because Martin can continue to bounce it. He could try to Grim Lavamancer the Parasitic Strix.
But then you just bounce the Cavern Harpy in response and then play it, saving the Parasitic Strix.
Remember that Alluring lets all your creatures have flash.
Yep.
So that too does not work. Yeah, right now Curran's thinking about responding. The unfortunate thing is that it just doesn't matter because everything has flash.
Yep, and he does respond. Martin correctly just pays the life, puts the gating trigger on the stack, Parasitic Strix in response, draining, and that will be it. The loop is intact. Trigger resolves, Parasitic Strix comes back, pay 1, back down to 7. And there's the hand.
All right, so Martin, 2-0, defeats Curran Delahanty in what he hopes is a match for top 8. Martin, at the bottom of his breakers, though, may have to battle 1 more round to make it into the top 8.